Canine dog growls at music room door. What he found froze everyone. The halls of Meadow Ridge Middle School were always calm in the mornings. Teachers greeted students with warm smiles, and the smell of fresh pencils and clean floors filled the air. Parents said it was one of the safest schools in the county. That was part of the reason Officer Reagan Wells had been assigned there. After years of working tough cases in the city, Reagan had asked for something slower, somewhere peaceful. She was 34, steady and calm, and still getting used to her new post as the school's resource officer. Her partner, however, had different ideas. Bruno, a 4-year-old Belgian, Malinois with sharp eyes and a sharp nose, was trained in search and rescue. He had been through fire scenes, missing persons cases, and even a tornado aftermath. Now he was assigned to help keep kids safe. Reagan thought Bruno would be bored here. But from the first day, Bruno seemed tense. Every time they walked the main hallway, Bruno's head turned toward the old music room. At first, Reagan thought it was nothing. Maybe the dog was just curious. But by the third day, Bruno began to slow down right outside the room. His ears perked, his body stiffened, his growl low and quiet. "Started easy, buddy," Reagan whispered, giving his leash a gentle tug. "It's just a classroom." But Bruno wouldn't budge for a few seconds. His eyes locked on the music room door, and his tail stayed low. It wasn't fear. It was something else. Something serious. Reagan looked at the door. It was plain wood, with a small, square window covered by dark paper. The music teacher, Mr. Carlane, had been there for years. He was soft-spoken, always wore neat sweater vests, and most people said he had the patience of a saint. When Reagan mentioned the dog's behavior to him, Carlin gave a quick laugh. "He probably smells the violin polish," he said, "or maybe those old saxophones, they stink." Reagan smiled politely, but something in Carlin's tone felt off. His eyes had darted to the door too quickly. His hands fidgeted with the edge of his sweater vest. Still, she let it go. Dogs pick up strange scents all the time, especially in schools filled with kids. Snacks and cleaning supplies. Maybe it was nothing. 2 days later, Bruno's reaction changed. It was Friday, right after the second period bell. Kids were in the hallway grabbing their books. Reagan was on patrol, walking the halls with Bruno at her side, but the moment they neared the music room, Bruno stopped dead. He didn't just growl, he snarled. His nose pointed straight at the door, and his hackles rose, the fur on his back standing tall. He lunged once, barking loud and deep. A warning bark. It was the kind of bark Reagan had only heard once before, during a search and rescue call, when a missing child had been found behind a broken wall. The hallway went quiet. Students turned to stare. Reagan tightened Bruno's leash and knelt beside him, whispering, "What is it, boy?" "Just..." Then, Mr. Carlin rounded the corner, carrying a large stack of music books. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice higher than usual. Reagan stood. "He's been acting strange around this room," she said. "Especially today." Carlin gave a weak chuckle. "I just tuned the piano. Probably made him nervous." Reagan wasn't buying it anymore. "Mind if I take a look inside?" she asked. Carlin hesitated, just for a second, but it was enough. "Oh, actually, I've got a rehearsal at 5. The room's a bit messy right now," he said quickly. "Can I tidy up first?" Reagan's eyes narrowed. Her hand rested near her radio. She leaned slightly to the left and noticed something new. An old padlock on the supply closet door inside the music room. It hadn't been there earlier this week. She didn't say anything yet. Instead, she gave a small nod, thanked Mr. Carlin, and turned down the hallway. As soon as she rounded the corner, she called dispatch. "This is Officer Wells at Meadow Ridge Middle. I need backup and a school administrator." "Quiet response, please. Something was wrong." Bruno had known it from the start, and now Reagan was finally ready to listen. Officer Reagan Wells waited near the front office, her hand resting lightly on Bruno's leash. The dog sat still but alert, eyes watching the hallway. Something was off. Reagan could feel it now. Just like Bruno had from the start, Principal Sandoval arrived 5 minutes later, looking confused and a little concerned. "What's going on?" he asked. Reagan kept her voice calm but firm. "I've had multiple alerts from Bruno near the music room. He growled, barked, acted like something's wrong. I noticed a new padlock on a closet there. I'd like permission to search." The principal raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Carlin's been with us for years. Are you sure?" Reagan didn't hesitate. "I trust Bruno. That's enough for me." A few minutes later, a second officer and a school custodian arrived. Carlin was nowhere to be found. Reagan, the custodian, and the principal unlocked the music room. The lights buzzed as they flicked on. The room looked normal at first. Rows of chairs, instruments on racks, and music stands. But then Reagan stepped toward the supply closet at the back. The padlock was real. Not just a latch, heavy metal, recently attached. Why? Would a supply closet in a school need a lock like this? She whispered. The custodian shrugged. No idea. We usually just use a key latch. The officer beside her nodded. Let's open it. Inside the closet, it smelled like old wood and dust, but something else too. Something sharp. A sour, chemical smell, mixed with the smell of sweat. Reagan wrinkled her nose, then Bruno growled. Again, Reagan stepped inside and noticed the shelf along the back wall. A few cleaning supplies sat there, along with sheet music, boxes, and wires. But something was strange. The floor under the shelf looked different. She knelt and touched it. A faint line, a hatch. Her heart skipped. Move back, she said. She and the other officer lifted the hatch door. Cold air rushed up from the space below. It was dark, dusty, silent. Reagan flicked on her flashlight and stared down a narrow staircase. Without a word, she clicked Bruno's leash and whispered, "Let's go." They crept down the steps slowly. Each step creaked beneath her boots. Bruno moved ahead, nose low, tail steady. When they reached the bottom, the flashlight beam showed a small room. Bare concrete walls, no windows. A thin, dirty mattress sat in one corner. Crumbs, wrappers, and an empty water jug lay nearby. On the wall, scratch marks, red X's marked on. A calendar. It was clear someone had been living down here. Then the flashlight caught something else. A boy. He was curled in the far corner, knees to his chest. His clothes were wrinkled and dirty. His eyes stared forward, wide open, but not blinking. In one hand, he held something. A broken plastic metronome. Reagan's voice caught in her throat. "Tyler?" She said softly, kneeling. No response. "This is Officer Wells. You're safe now. This is Bruno. He's a good dog." Bruno stepped closer and slowly lay down in front of the boy. After a moment, he placed his head gently on Tyler's knee. That's when Tyler blinked, just once. But it was enough. Reagan's heart squeezed. "You're okay now. We found you." She called for emergency medical help. As they waited, she examined the room again. Bare walls, old snacks, nothing comforting. Just survival. It was like someone had tried to hide him away. Quietly, back upstairs, news spread fast. Staff gasped. Parents were called. The principal stood frozen by the office phone, repeating, "How did we miss this?" Security footage showed Mr. Carlin had left just minutes before, carrying a music bag and pushing a cart. It looked normal, but Reagan noticed something under the cart's cloth. A duffel bag, heavy, just big enough to carry something or someone. By the time police checked Carlin's address, it was empty. His car was gone. His phone is off. The man had vanished, but Tyler had been saved at the hospital. Doctors confirmed what Reagan feared. Tyler had been down there for weeks. He didn't speak at all. They called it trauma mutism, a silence caused by fear and pain. But he responded to Bruno. When the dog came into his hospital room, Tyler reached for him without a word. Bruno lay beside him, tail wagging softly, and slowly, something began to change. For a week, the school and town were in shock. No one could believe Mr. Carlin had done something so awful. Parents were afraid. Teachers felt betrayed. The music room stayed locked, and every hallway felt different, like something dark had been hiding in plain sight. Officer Reagan Wells spent her nights reviewing camera footage and police reports. She didn't sleep much, neither did Bruno. The dog stayed alert, pacing the floor or sitting near the front door, like he was waiting for something. Tyler, the boy they had rescued, remained quiet. He still didn't talk, but he held Bruno's stuffed toy, a little police dog with a vest, and sometimes let Bruno sit close during therapy. One day, something changed, Tyler whispered. "He told me no one would find me." Reagan leaned forward, trying to stay calm. "Who told you that?" Tyler's fingers clutched the toy tighter. "Mr. Carlin," he said, "even if people heard me, they wouldn't believe me." Reagan felt a chill in her spine. That same week, a music store owner in Arizona called the tip line. He had seen the news and thought he recognized Carlin. "He came in last night," the man said, "bought guitar strings, used a fake name, but it was him." A task force was quickly formed. Reagan and Bruno flew to Arizona with a team of officers. They waited at a quiet bus terminal, where the store owner said Carlin was spotted before. It was early morning. Bruno sat in the back of the van, ears up, tail still. Reagan checked her radio and watched the gate at 10:43 a.m. A man walked in wearing a gray hoodie and sunglasses. He had a folded newspaper under one arm. His walk was calm, too calm. "That's him," Reagan whispered. Bruno let out a growl. Not loud, but deep, the same growl from the music room door. Reagan opened the van door slowly and stepped out. "Carling," she called firmly. He didn't look up, but his shoulders tensed. "Don't run," she warned. "Bruno won't miss." Carlin turned, looked her straight in the eye, and said quietly, "He remembers too much." Then he reached into his jacket. Before Reagan could shout, Bruno launched forward. The dog's body moved fast and strong. A perfect takedown. His jaws clamped around Carlin's arm, not to injure, but to stop him. Carlin hit the ground hard as officers rushed in and cuffed him. In his pocket, they found a stun gun, a fake ID, and a list of children's names, some from Meadow-Ridge, others from schools in different states. Reagan felt sick. Back at the hospital, Tyler was told that Carlin had been caught. He didn't cheer. He didn't cry. He simply asked, "Did Bruno stop him?" "Yes," Reagan said gently. "He protected someone else, just like he protected you." Tyler smiled, just a little. "Good." That night, Reagan sat beside Bruno on the porch of Tyler's foster home. Tyler came out holding a piece of notebook paper. "It's a letter," he said. For Bruno, Reagan unfolded it. In shaky handwriting, it read, "Dear Bruno, thank you for not giving up. You didn't bark to scare me. You barked so people would find me. I love you, your boy." Tyler Reagan blinked back tears, but their work wasn't done. Carlin had pleaded not guilty. His lawyers claimed he was mentally ill and that Tyler was confused. They said Tyler's memories couldn't be trusted. That meant Tyler would need to testify. His foster mom, Dr. Langley, was worried. "He's made so much progress. I don't want to push him back." But the district attorney, a kind woman named Miss Herrera, said the jury needs to hear it from him. Carlin counted on silence. Tyler's voice can stop him for good. Tyler didn't say yes right away. He just looked at Bruno. "Can he come with me?" He asked quietly. "To court?" Reagan asked. "I can't talk without him." Reagan smiled. "We'll make it happen." And they did. The day of the trial was quiet and cold. A few birds chirped in the trees outside the courthouse, but everything else felt still. Inside the building, people whispered and walked slowly, as if they knew something important was about to happen. Tyler wore a navy blue shirt and tan pants. His hair was combed and his shoes were clean. He held something small and folded in his hand. A note he wrote to himself. It said, "You are brave. You are safe. Bruno is here." Bruno sat next to him in the back seat of the police cruiser. His ears were alert, his body still, like he already understood how serious this day was. Officer Reagan Wells glanced at Tyler in the mirror. "You okay, kiddo?" Tyler didn't answer right away. Then he whispered, "I'm scared, but not alone. That's more than enough," she said. In the courtroom, the judge allowed Bruno to sit beside Tyler on the witness stand. The courtroom was full. Lawyers, the jury, and even some teachers from Meadow-Ridge. Reporters sat in the back. Tyler stepped forward, holding Bruno's leash. When he climbed into the witness seat, Bruno hopped up beside him and lay down, his head resting gently on Tyler's foot. The judge gave a small nod. "Proceed, Miss Herrera." The kind district attorney walked slowly toward Tyler. Her voice was soft. "Tyler, do you remember what happened at school?" Tyler nodded. "Did Mr. Carlin take you somewhere?" Tyler swallowed. "The music room. A door in the back. It went down. Did you choose to go there?" He shook his head. "No," she gave him time. "Did Mr. Carlin ever hurt you?" Tyler didn't cry, but his voice shook. "He hurt me by hiding me. He said no one would come. But Bruno did." Gasps filled the courtroom. One juror covered her mouth. Ms. Herrera smiled gently and said, "Thank you, Tyler. That's all." Next came the defense attorney. He wore a sharp suit and a cold smile. "Tyler," he began, "are you sure it wasn't a game? Maybe you just got confused?" Tyler's eyes dropped for a second. His shoulders shrinking, Bruno sat up slowly, not barking, not growling, just rising, strong and steady. Tyler placed his hand on the dog's back. "I didn't get confused," he said firmly. "I counted the days. I remember enough." The courtroom fell completely silent. The defense attorney closed his folder. No more questions. Later that afternoon, the jury left to decide the case. They came back just 3 hours later, guilty on all counts. The foreperson said, "Mr. Carlin didn't say a word. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole." Outside, The courthouse, reporters called Tyler a hero, but he didn't feel like one. He just asked Reagan, "Did I help?" She smiled. "You helped more than you know." That weekend, the school held a quiet ceremony in the courtyard. A small bronze statue was placed under the trees. It showed a boy sitting with a music book, and beside him, a dog with one paw on the LC. Page, the plaque read, "To the children who were found, and the ones who found them." Reagan and Tyler stood in the front row. Bruno sat beside them, tail thumping gently. "Is that supposed to be me?" Tyler asked. Reagan nodded. And him, a few weeks later, Meadow-Ridge invited them back for a Heroes Day assembly. At first, Tyler didn't want to return. "What if I feel trapped again?" he asked. "You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to." Reagan promised, "And I'll be with you." "So will Bruno." Tyler thought about it, then nodded. "Okay." The school welcomed them with applause. Students held signs that said, "Thank you, Bruno," and "Silence isn't gone." When Reagan gave a short speech, she said, "I'm not just a police officer today. I'm someone who watched a child choose courage, and a dog who refused to give up." Bruno barked once. Everyone laughed, but the most surprising moment came later. During a safety conference months after the trial, Tyler was asked to speak. He stood behind the microphone, shaking. The lights were bright, and the room was full of adults. "I was a kid who got lost," he began. "I didn't think anyone would hear me, but Bruno did." He looked down at Bruno, who sat quietly at his feet. Sometimes kids don't speak, not because they're okay, but because they're scared. Listen anyway. People in the crowd wiped tears from their eyes. That night, as they sat under a tree near the building, Tyler whispered, "Do you think I'll always be the kid from the music room?" Reagan thought about it. "Maybe. Or maybe you'll just be the kid who came out of it. That matters more." Tyler leaned against Bruno's side and nodded. "Good boy," he said softly. And Bruno licked his cheek like it was just another Tuesday.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Love Tales of Tales, for long, heartwarming pets and animals. Love stories that stay with you long after they end.